Hi there, parents and followers and students, and some college people look at my videos. I think I'm going to upset some people today, perhaps, but I'm going to try to give some common sense why I believe what I believe. And it's an education related video, though it may not seem like it to you. It is education related. And that is, came up in an article that I read, because you remember they pass laws in Sacramento all the time. The media is not covering. But this one was an ed source, which I look at. So I don't agree with the way they write things all the time, as you know. I'm going to react to this article about a change that passed one of the houses in Sacramento. Hold on. All right, take a look at this article here by Malika Sesadri from EdSource. Bill to provide, look at the wording of this, bill to provide descendants of slavery preference in college admissions move forward. Apparently, they passed one of the houses. So they're going to provide descendants of slavery preference. Now, again, I know some of you will get upset what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it the way I feel it. You know, this has to be one of the dumbest bills I've ever seen presented in Sacramento. It's dumb. Simple as that. And you can read the article here, but I'm going to comment first. First of all, how in the world are you going to determine who's a descendant of slavery? I mean, we're in California, it's not a slave state. So you're talking about Black families that migrated from the South. How will you approve it on the application? Is it going to be self-reported? If people self-report their descendants of slavery, then you can use that in admissions, notwithstanding the fact we just had a referendum. I think I'll include that video I did on it way back 3 years ago when it didn't pass. It failed by 3 or 4 million votes. And then it failed as 209 years ago. Californians do not want race preference. And you're saying, well, this is not race. Well, let me just see. Do you think it's envisioned for white students whose families were enslaved in Middle Europe? Or Asian students? How about Japanese students who were enslaved by Koreans? I think it's sometime in history that occurred. Or Chinese students that were enslaved whose families were, okay? Remember, it's descendants. Are they going to be included in this? You all know that this is talking about Black folks. They always feel like they're going to give you some kind of handout. I resent it. Now, our program gives students more opportunity, and that's what we should be working on. Stop trying to change the rules. Let's improve Black student performance. What do you say? Let's understand why our kids are not getting the chance they need. Let's get together in the community and get our Black students opportunity. This is meant for Black students. I don't want anybody giving me nothing. I don't have to wait around for Massa to give me stuff, some crumbs from his table. Ooh, I resent this bill. I thought I wouldn't be so triggered. Forgive me. Preference. Now, it's not ordering the preference. If you look at the wording of it, let's read it. Assembly Bill 7, AB 7, would allow colleges and universities to give preference to those who are descendants of slavery. So it's going to allow them. But how will it be implemented? And who's a descendant of slavery? What about a white person who has one mixed race parent, mixed Black and something else, and one parent who's white? Are they going to have enough? How much Black do you have to have? How much of a descendant you have to be? And what about freed Blacks? Some blacks are descendants of freed blacks from New England or blacks who were never enslaved. Are you going to tell me they can't get anything? Sometimes they do stuff in Sacramento that they know can't be legal. My goodness, we just had a ruling of the Supreme Court that race cannot be considered in admissions. But you're going to see in this dumb article, well, the article's not dumb, that some of these people who are naive think they can get around that. Assembly Bill 7, which would allow colleges and universities to give preference to students who are descendants of slavery, cleared the Senate Education Committee. Can you believe that? It cleared the Senate Education Committee. Affirmative action is not permitted. That's the point at the state and federal level. But proponents say being a descendant of a slave is not proxy for race. Are you kidding me? Will white Slavic students whose families were enslaved by Russians, will they be given a break? Can universities get them in? And how will you prove, just how are you going to prove this when you're applying? Are we going to provide genetic tests attached to the application? Is it going to be self-reported? We just believe you if you say it? Are we going to send a picture and do colorism? I know black folks come in all different shades. You might get a light-skinned black person and they'll say, wait a minute, I'm black. And what about black African students? This is the stupidest bill I've ever seen come out of the Senate committee. And I'm appalled that no one mentioned it, no one wrote about it. I bet there was no testimony. Nobody said anything. I'm going to research that. I can't believe this. What are we doing in Sacramento? Now, wait a minute. This is why a lot of people are leaving this state or are very upset at what's going on in Sacramento. Experts doubt the bill will become law. And until, you better believe there'll be legal challenges. There already is a major lawsuit. Shout out to Rex Ridgway for pointing it out. Boy, Rex, thanks a lot, man. There already are legal cases of Asian students who are claiming there's preference in admission by race. And I think they're going to win their case based on the federal part alone. And based on what people who work for UC in the admissions office have told me. My. A bill will give California colleges and universities an option to provide preference so they can decide whether to break the law or not. It cleared 5-2 after it went through the assembly with overwhelming support. I bet it was by party. Democrats have a supermajority. But as the bill moves to Judiciary Committee, even as proponents say, maybe they wanted to just make a statement and get a reaction. Well, you got a reaction out of me. Assembly Bill 7, authored by Assemblyman Isaac Bryan, is the first statewide measure of its kind to address the harms of slavery. My goodness, we have so much resilience as Black people. We should work on Black culture, how it's affecting our educational success. Sometimes culture gets in the way, but we're years and years away from slavery. I know a lot of you are not going to like that. A lot of you who are super educated and you learned it in some class, UCLA education professor Tyrone Howard, and it's been backed by nearly 24 organizations, including, look, the teachers' unions, and of course, the Student Association. How do you implement this, people? How are you going, and not be race-based? All right, I'm not going to read any more of this. No way, I'm going to read it. No, let's just stop. I'll include a link to the article below. Why don't you give me some comments? What do you think about that? Do you think we should have special consideration for the descendants of slavery And be honest now, do you think that it's only Black people that should get it? The minute you do, it's race-based preferences. I'm going to leave you with the words of a great singer. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I get it myself. God bless you all. Thank you very much.